Namaste and good morning, everyone. Today is Saturday, our Vivekachudamani class. So let's start with some prayers. Om Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parbrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Bhu Bhuvaswaha, Tat Savitra Vareneyam, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् अस्तो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्युर्मा अमृतं गमय ओम सहना भवतु सहना भुनक्तु सवीर्यं कर्वावहि तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्वेषावहि ओम शांति शांति शांति. Let's open our books on verse number 553. न एव इंद्रियाणि विषयेषु नियुक्तः एषः न एव अपयुक्तः उपदर्शन लक्षणस्थः न एव क्रियाफलम् अपि ईषद् अवेक्षते च स्वानंद सांद्र रस पान सुमत चिता. न means not, ev means certainly. Indriyani, the sense organs. Visheshu, in the sense objects. Niyuktehe, directs. Eshaha, this. Na means not. Ev, certainly. Apyuktehe, detached. See, yukt means attached, apyukt means detached. Upadarshan lakshan satha, one who is indicated as abiding as the witness. So it's almost like a very unconcerned spectator. Ev means certainly, kriya phalam, the fruits of actions. Api means also, ishad, a little bit. Avekshate, looks forward. Cha means and, swa anand, bliss of the self. Sandra, abundant. Ras is essence, pan means drink. Sumat, Sumat is like a lot, Sumat. Chitaha is mind. He does not direct the sense organs to their objects, nor does he detach them from there. But he remains like an indifferent onlooker. His mind being drunk with the bliss of the self. He holds not the least regard for the fruits of the actions. So this is an attitude of the man of perfection in his transaction with the world. Because he is still living in a body with the mind and the intellect, but this is what his attitude is. Neither does he run after the sense objects, nor does he deliberately take himself away from them, because he is not affected either way. Upadarshan lakshan satha. So he just remains in the body as an unconcerned onlooker. He's watching, that's it. So he's, and if he's just not concerned, he's definitely not concerned for the fruits of the actions. Because normally people like us act because we want something. All our actions are done. First we think about the fruit, and then we do the actions. But this person's dispassion towards the joy arising from the sense context is because he is full of joy. He doesn't want that puny little joy from the objects. He is full with that eternal joy. Swa Anand Sandras Raspan Sumat Chita. So it's like an undiluted elixir of the bliss of the self. He is sipping constantly. Okay? Because a little joy is from the objects doesn't mean anything to me. Let's look at the next one. So we are towards the last part of Vivekachudamani. So over here, Shankaracharya ji is explaining how this man of perfection lives in this world. Lakshye alakshye gatim tyaktvaha yatishtet keval atmanah shiva eva swayam sakshat ayam brahma vidutma. Lakshya, the goal. Alakshya, not the goal. Gatim. Gatim is something to be achieved, or like an anxiety towards something. Somewhere to go, gatim. Tyaktva, having given up. Ya means he who tishtet, abides. Keval atmana, by himself in the self. Shiva, auspicious. Ev means alone, swayam, himself. Sakshat, personified, sakshat. Ayam, this, Brahma Vidutmaha, the best among the knowers of Brahma. Brahma Vid Uttama. He who has renounced the anxiety to reach the goal and never to deviate from it, and lives as the absolute Atma. Indeed, he is Shiva himself, he is auspicious himself, the best among the knowers of Brahma. So after renouncing the anxiety to reach the goal, and the anxiety never deviate from the goal, lakshya alakshya gati tyaktva. Otherwise, there's always some kind of a churning going on in the mind. I must move towards the self. I must not move towards the not self. That is not there anymore. Sometimes we wonder, am I slipping from my path? So in this person, there's no anxiety like that. So into anxiety to reach the goal, will leave when the goal is reached. Just like anxiety to go to sleep will go away when we are fully asleep. So this individual whose mind is free from all worry and dissipation is God himself. Very embodiment of auspiciousness. So he who has reached this, he is the best among the knowers of the Brahma. Let's look at next one, 555. Jivan ev sada muktaha kritartha brahm vitmaha upadhina shat brahm ev san brahm apyeti nirdvayam. Jivan, that means living, while living, jivan. Ev means even, sada muktaha, sada means always, mukta means free, so it's ever free. Kritartha, fulfilled. Brahma vitam, the perfect knower of Brahma, like a supreme knower. Upadhi nashat, through the destruction of his conditioning. And conditionings are wherever we limit ourselves, that is a conditioning. If we limit ourselves that we are the body, or we are the mind, or we are what we have achieved, those are all conditionings. They're called upadhis. So through the destruction of the conditioning, And you can see that this is what we need to cultivate. This is the sadhana. Let go of, peel it off all the upadhis. Brahm, ev san, alone is. Brahm, apyeti, attains. Nirdvayam, non-dual. The perfect knower of Brahma becomes eternally free. Sada mukta. Even in this life, so it's not after leaving the body, while living here also. That's why they are called Jivan Mukta. They are living, but they are free. So the perfect knower of Brahm becomes eternally free even in this life and is fulfilled. So it feels Kritartha. He merges with the non-dual Brahma, which he had been all along through the destruction of his limitations. So removal of the upadhis is the sadhana. And when we have removed the upadhis, the limitations, we have achieved the goal. Okay. So just like a rocket goes up and slowly the gravitational pull doesn't mean anything. Initially, sure, it needs to make some use all those equipments to move up. But once it's up, no gravity pull. The same thing happens to a man of perfection. While living in the physical body, attains this so ananda. With the eyes, he is seeing, but he knows that this is a function of the eyes to see, function of the ears to hear, and knows that I am just only the witness. These are just only the equipments given to me. So this is like a sense of fulfillment he feels. Otherwise, if we have not achieved it, we always have a sense of unfulfillment or discontent. No matter how much we have traveled, no matter how much we have achieved in this worldly ways, there's always a sense of unfulfillment. But this person is always content, ever fulfilled. Nothing more to be gained by him at any level of the personality. Body doesn't have to gain anything. Mind doesn't. Senses, ego, totally detached from them. So when the equipments are transcended, he becomes the non-dual Brahma. Does not find himself separate from God or other than God. That is a complete fulfillment. Advayam. Let's look at the next one. Shailushaha vesh sadbhav abhavyoho cha yatha puman tatha eva brahmavit shreshtaha sada brahm eva na aparaha. Shailushaha, actor. Vesh sadbhav, wearing his costume. So actors, they play a role, and according to the role, they dress up. So vesh, that's called vesh. Abhavyo, without the dress of his role, without that costume. Cha means and, yatha just as, puman in a person, tatha in the same way, ev means alone, brahmavit shreshtaha, the best among the knowers of Brahm. Sada, always, Brahm, ev means alone, na means nothing, apara, else. Just as an actor, whether he wears the costume of his role or not, is always a person. So too, the perfect knower of Brahma is always Brahma and nothing else. So that means this is just a costume we are wearing. Whether we are wearing a costume of a mother or a wife or a father or a son, daughter, friend, those are all costumes. Because we are playing those roles. Just like when we go outside, we wear different clothes. When we go to a party, we wear different clothes. When we do yoga, we wear different clothes. When we sleep, we wear different clothes. Those are costumes we wear. But that doesn't mean that our identity changes. We are consistently, constantly the same. So this person who has realized the reality does not forget that. So best among the knowers of the Brahm who has realized the infinite is always Brahm. While living in this world, playing his part, he never identifies with the role of the flesh. Always remembering the Brahm. So let's look at next one. So this is a very highest stage he's talking about. This is where we need to go. That's where we are aiming at. So that's why we need to know where we are going. Maybe it's far-fetched right now for us, but still this is the goal. 557. Yatra ko api vishirnam satparnam ivtaro vapu patatat brahmi bhutasya yate prak ev tachit aginaha dagdham. Yatra means where, ko api, wherever. Vishirnam. Vishirnam means, okay, hithered or just moved away. Vishirna. Sat means is, parnam, leaf. Iv, like taro, of the tree. Vapu, body. Pattat, fallen. Brahme bhutasya, of one who has realized himself to be the Brahma. Brahme bhutasya. Yate, of the sage. Prak, before the fall of the body. Yate, the sage. Ev means itself. Tachit, of knowledge, or because of the knowledge. Agina, by the fire of knowledge. That's a fire, agina. Dagdam, has been burned. The body of a sage who has realized Brahma may wither and fall anywhere, like the leaf of a tree. It matters not. Why? Because it has already been burned in the fire of knowledge. So this is the effect of the Jnana Agni. So he is giving us an analogy over here. And during this fall season, we can see that the leaves on the tree, they are ready to fall. Tree finds no identification with the leaves that have fallen off. Does not matter to the tree. So the same way the man of perfection does not identify with his body, just like a tree does not identify with the fallen leaves. Actually, if you look at it, even before any leaf or leaves fall, it becomes useless to the tree because it has already yellowed up and dried up. It still clings to the tree because it doesn't have any energy to fall off. But when the strong fall breeze carries it away, the tree is not worried about it, where the leaf is going. Whatever the destiny of the leaf is, it can fall right down, or it can fly away into the water or on the mountain or somebody else's yard. No attachment to it. The same way the man of perfection, even before realization, has burnt down his identification with the body. In the kindled fire of knowledge, when we study it again and again, when we contemplate it on it, that we are not the body, when that knowledge has really taken up the roots in our psyche, then we know that there is no consequence if such a body which no more serves any useful purpose falls off. It's almost like a good riddance of a bad rubbish. That's how a saint looks at it. There's no use for this body. I'm not serving anybody. Can't even do my sadhana. If it falls off, it's okay. Next verse. सदा आत्मनि ब्रह्मणि तिष्ठतः मुने पूर्ण अद्वै आनंदमय आत्मनः सदा न देश काल आदि उचित प्रतीक्षा त्वंग मास विट पिंड विसर्जनाय. Sada, always. Atmani, in the self. Brahmani, in Brahma. Tishtata, abiding. Mune, of the contemplative sage. Muni. See, Muni word is mananashil, and that is contemplation. So, of the contemplative sage. Puran, infinite. Advaya, non-dual. Anandamaya, full of bliss. Atmana, by himself. Sada means always. Na means not. Desh means place. Kal means time. Adi, etc. Uchit. Uchit is like a usual consideration. Uchit. Pratiksha, waiting. Twang, skin. Mas, flesh. Vit, that's like a filth. Pind, this body. Visarjanai, for giving up. The sage who is firmly established in the eternal reality, Brahma, as infinite, non-dual bliss, depends not on the usual consideration of place, time, etc. For giving up this bundle of skin, flesh, and filth. Such an individual who has become one with Brahma, even while living, that's what the point is making, will not wait for an appropriate time or place for leaving the body. He has mentally left this body. He does not depend upon the time, place, circumstances, etc. He is fully connected with the Brahma. 559. Dehasya mokshaha na umokshaha na dandasya kamandaloho avidyaha hridaya granthi mokshaha mokshaha yata tatha. Dehasya, of the body. Mokshaha, liberation. Na, oh, no. Mokshaha, liberation. Na means not. Dandasya, of the staff. You know that dand which munis carry. The dand, that stick, staff. Kamandalo, the water bowl. Avidya, ignorance. Hridaya granthi mokshaha, liberation of the knots of heart. Mokshaha, liberation. Yataha, which is tataha, that alone. For giving up the body, or the staff, that stick, or the water bowl, is not liberation. Liberation is the sundering of the heart's knots, which are constituted of ignorance. So sannyas is, or the moksha is, letting go of the heart knots, not the outer symbols. Or you can say that liberation from the body is no liberation. Or to free oneself from the physical body is not liberation. Who continue to exist in the subtle and the causal body, that's not a liberation. Physical body, everybody is going to leave. That doesn't mean that everybody is going to be liberated. This liberation has to happen while we live in this body. So this Dand and the Kamandal are a sannyasi's symbols. He throws away when he becomes a parivrajak. You know what parivrajak is? See, first sannyasi carries these. But when he becomes a wandering sannyasi, he doesn't care. He has risen little above, then he is a parivrajak. That's a technical term for that sannyasi. So parivrajak is the person, that sannyasi, who moves about from place to place. And he has liberated from the stick also and a kamandal also. So the same way, if we need to become free, we got to let go, because these are our equipments right now. Our body, our mind, and the intellect. We got to liberate from those. That's why the true liberation consists of freedom from the knots of the heart. Hriday Granthi. And what are these knots? There are three knots. Ignorance, desire, and actions. Avidya, kam, and karam. Okay, so doership and the desires and the ignorance. If there's an ignorance in us that who we are, we think we are the body, then sure we'll have a lot of desires. And because of the desires, we'll do the karam also. We'll say, I am doing it. Come enjoy it. So these three knots must be cut asunder. Then it doesn't even matter. We have body or possessions, or we don't have them. So this is what he's talking about. For giving up the body or the staff or the water bowl is not liberation. Liberation is the letting go of the heart's knots. Okay, and then he did explain these heart knots in the beginning of the scripture beautifully. So you should go back. But right now I'm just giving you only, in a nutshell, what does heart of knots of Hriday Granthi means. 560. Kulyayam ath nadyam va shiv kshetre api chatvare parnam chet tentaro kim na u shubh ashubham. Kulyayam, in a stream. Ath means or. Nadyam, in a river. Va means or. Shiva kshetre, in a place consecrated to Shiva, like any mandir or a temple. Api means even. Chatvare, at crossroads. Parnam, the leaf. Patati chet, if falls. See, patati means fall, chet means if. Ten, by it. Taro, for the tree. Kim means what? Na, u. Indeed. Shubh ashubham, good or evil. If a leaf falls in a stream, so the same analogy is using here, which he used a few verses before. If a leaf falls in a stream or a river, in a place consecrated to Shiva, or at a crossroad, what good or evil will it bestow upon the tree? because tree has detached that leaf completely. It doesn't matter where it falls. And we see that leaves, especially in the Chicagoland area, we see leaves everywhere these days. They're falling. Sometimes it looks like a rain of leaves and then keep on falling. Sometimes they go to the gutter. Sometimes they're on the top of the roof. They can even go to Ganges if they want to. But they can go to a temple. What has the tree got to do with them? So he's just making us think. Let the body fall down anywhere, whenever its prarabdha ends. This body we have gotten because of the prarabdha. Where we were born, what time we were born, why we were born in that particular family, that's all prarabdha. What have I got to with it when I have reached that oneness with the Brahman? No use of this body. This is what a sannyasi feels. 561. Patrasye pushpasye phalasye nashvat deha indriye pran dhyam vinashaha na evatmanah swasye sad atmakasya he anand krite vrikshvat asti cha eshaha. Patrasye, of a leaf. Pushpasye, of a flower. Phalasye, of a fruit. So patra, pushpa, phal. Nashvat, like their destruction. Deh, body. Indriye, sense organs. Pran, vital airs. Dhyam, and of the intellect. Dhi means intellect. Vinashaha is the destruction. Na means not. Ev means certainly. Atmana, of the self. Suvasya, of itself. Sadatmakasya, of the self which is the eternal reality. Sada atmakasya. Ananda ritehe, embodiment of a bliss. Vrikshavat, like the tree. Asti means exists. Cha means and. Esha means this. Like the destruction of a leaf, flower, or fruit. That means to a tree is the destruction of the body, sense organs, pran, and intellect. The Atma, the eternal reality, is never affected. It is the embodiment of bliss, which is one's real nature and exists like the tree. Okay, so again, he is bringing our attention towards this analogy. When the leaf, the flowers, and the fruits fall off, nothing happens to the tree. They are all its fulfillment, but the tree is separate from all these. The same way, the vinash of the body, the sense organs, vitality, and the intellect, when they all die, fall away, I still exist. The essence, the me, never dies. That is the truth. Okay, just like a tree survives after the fallen leaves, fallen flowers, fallen fruits. The pure, eternal, infinite consciousness does not know any destruction. It is eternal. So if we identify ourselves with that constantly, consistently, then where is the sorrow? It is only bliss, eternal bliss. 562. Pragyan ghana iti atam lakshanam satye suchakam anudhye upadhikasya eva kathyanti vinashanam. Pragyan ghana. Ghan means homogeneous. So it's a homogeneous mass of pragya. Iti means thus, atam lakshanam, indication for the nature of the self. Satya suchikam, establish its reality. Anudhye, having established. Upadhi kasya, of the conditionings. Upadhis. Ev means alone. Kathyanti, voice. Vinashanam, the destruction. The embodiment of consciousness. In these words, the scriptures indicate the nature of the self. Establish its reality and voice the destruction of apparent conditioning only. Okay, see, pragyan ghana, this word is used in a Brihad Aryanyak Upanishad quite a bit. And in that Upanishad, the Rishi is indicating the nature of reality. So this is a technical word for pragyan ghana. So it means a homogeneous mass of consciousness where there is nothing other than it. Homogeneous, like only that. So it really points out the eternal reality that survives all the destruction. And this is called Satyam. That reality is the self in the individual and self in the whole universe also. So there's nothing else, it's only the self. It's almost like a person standing on the shore of the ocean, looking at the ocean. Or you can say that there are three people standing over there. One person says that I see ocean and I am looking at the waves coming out of the ocean. It's like a creation of the waves happening with the ocean. So they are created by the ocean, they go back into the ocean. The other person says, sure, there are waves, but they are part of the ocean. There's no difference between the ocean and the waves, it's the same. And but the Pragyan person says, what ocean? What waves? Only water. That's homogeneous. No difference between the creation and the creator. So nothing but Brahma. It's like nothing but water. I don't see anything else. So Pragyan Ghan indicates that infinite eternal reality which is all pervading within and without, which survives the destruction of all other things in the universe. That means all the names, all the forms, all the emotions and all the thoughts. It's nothing but Brahma. So this state of existence transcends all the equipments, all the upadhis. So this Pragyan Ghan, maybe one day we'll, if you're interested, we can do this Upanishad. Brihad Aryanyak Upanishad. So the vision of the world that we have today ends with the experience of the reality. Otherwise, we are constantly worried about the changes. Constantly. But when this experience happens, there's no worry. Because it's a Pragyan Ghan. Let's do one more, then we'll stop today's class. Avinashi ve are ayam atma iti shruti atmanaha prabravitihi avinashitvam vinashyatasu vikarishu. Avinashi, indestructible. See, Vinash means destruction. Avinash, indestructible. Where means indeed. Are means dear. I am this Atma, self. Iti means thus. Shruti, the scriptures. The primary scriptures are called Shruti. Shruti. And secondary scriptures are called what? Samriti. Right? Atmanaha, for the self. Prabhaviti speaks. Avinashitvam, indestructibility. Vinashitsu, among the destructible. Vikarishu, and changing. See, vikar means modifications, the change. Immortal is this Atma, my dear. This passage from the scriptures speaks of the immortal in the middle of the things, finite and subject to modifications. Okay. So he's talking to his student with such a love, my dear. Actually, there is another great Upanishad, very deep Upanishad. It's like all the Upanishads are deep, but some Upanishads, they really go so much into the depth of this Brahm Vidya. You almost forget about yourself. You just dive so much deeper into this knowledge. Yajnavalkya advises his wife, Maitreyi, by saying that which is indestructible, that immutable reality is the self, my dear. Okay, so he's almost quoting that, but over here he is saying it to his student also. Either way you can look at it. Whether he's quoting Yajnavalkya or whether he is saying it to his student. So this Upanishad is indicating the immutability of the Atma. So there's no mutation in the Atma. There's no vikar in the Atma ever. Destruction can only happen to the Anatma. We used that term before. Anatma, Atma. Atma doesn't destroy. Anatma destroys or changes. So in the middle of the changes, this is the changeless. Body is changing, but in the middle of the body, there's an Atma, changeless. It is the light of the consciousness. Under this light, see, just like under the light of the sun, we can see everything. Everything grows. All the changes are happening in the light of that changeless. And the Atma has no involvement in this destruction. So we really cannot say that God is destroying it, or Atma is destroying it. This is the nature of the Prakriti, to go through these cycles: creation, sustenance, and destruction. That is the nature. But in the presence of the Atma, it's a happening. In the presence of the Brahm, it's a happening. That is the point he's trying to make for us. So let's end today's class over here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vishishyate. Om Shanti 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 Om.